So you gonna summarize, Cindy, then where we are, and then we'll take a vote or just vote, or however you want to do it.
Do you mean summarize that change?
No, I don't think you need to summarize the change, just that we discussed a whole bunch of stuff and we're going to vote.
Yes. Well, I'll let Nancy do that since she's taking the lead on the meeting.
Gotta unmute Nancy.
Hi, did you see my message?
Okay,
That's all that.
so here's what I don't understand. Do we get out of this breakout room?
We're not in it.
No, we're in the main room.
We're in the main
We,
room.
we never got out, we never could get into the breakout room, so we're just in the main
Really?
room, and the others left,
The
so they
others
should
left.
get the same link back if they
And
want.
Sue Stewart said she has
You can come back if you want.
she has a dinner thing out, so she's not going to join us back.
But Jean said she'll be here in a minute. And was there anybody else?
Robert, and I just told him he can come back if he wants. Oh, he's not coming.
You're stuck with summarizing.
So,
Well, let's wait for Jean if she's
Well,
Try to-
it's being recorded.
this is true, it is being recorded. So. Somebody needs to summarize what we've done. And it's not me.
Well, no, I'll go ahead and do it. I'll go ahead and give it a go. The board met in executive session to discuss the ministerial draft update, ministerial agreement draft update, with one change, and we're ready to now vote on that. Okay?
Yeah, second.
well, we need an actual motion.
I
Oh, the
move that
motion.
we adopt the ministerial agreement as we just agreed on it.
I seconded.
Do we
And-
need to articulate what that change is, or will it be in the final document?
I
It will
would
be the
just-
final.
I would just say we need to identify that we made a minor change.
Okay.
If Jean has a question, then she should ask it, I guess, or is that okay?
Or that we suggested a minor change to wording.
And I don't see Jean there. She was there for a minute. Where'd she go?
I have no question.
Thank
Oh.
you, Jean.
Okay,
Mhm.
So do we vote?
Yep.
All in favor?
I
Thank you all.
Okay.
unanimous, for the record, unanimous vote for Maryland.
Woohoo! Way to go, board.
Thank you. So Tom, with regard to the parliamentarian, that is something that you do.
Well, yeah, I'm willing to do it if you're willing to appoint me as a parliamentary advisor. If the
Yes.
board wants to do that.
Cindy?
Yes, indeed.
Okay. So Tom will take on any parliamentary pieces. Doug, don't be doing that.
Sorry.
Okay, and then you want us to keep the 5,000 for next time to put in onto the
Well, yeah, because I reviewed the policy and procedures, I reviewed the bylaws involving undesignated donations. And I want to make sure it was handled right, that the buildings and grounds team, it says it's supposed to be referred to a team I just want to make sure this went through the right process and that something positive could be done if I'm willing to donate $5,000 and it's just a matter of wording or some other kind of thing that we can overcome, just like we overcame some issues in our executive session. I don't know. It just seems like. And
Can I ask
and
you a
the-
question, Tom?
well, let me
Is
say.
it appropriate for me? I know it's not business tonight to be settled, but I need to look into this more and I'd like a clarifying question of your understanding of this, okay? So
Yeah.
what I saw initially was an incredibly generous offer of you to give $5,000 to get professional groundskeepers in to help with the property. And then later I heard that there was you wanted some specific things like a plan as to how it would be spent, that sort of stuff. And so that's I think where the issue comes in, right? If it becomes a gift where we have to get approval for how it's going to be spent, that goes against at least we have a choice to not accept it. Is that true, or is that not what is that? I thought the initial plan was great, and what I was going to suggest at that point is, yeah, but let's wait until next year, because 5,000 to go a long way to paying somebody to come in with a mower that actually has the capability of mulching things like pine needles and all that stuff. That's not what you're wanting.
It got so distorted. My basic common thing that was discussed with the buildings and grounds team, because it did come up after we cleaned up the memorial garden, was that I'm giving this to aesthetically improve the appearance of our grounds and to do whatever improvements are necessary to relieve the burden of the buildings and grounds team from doing heavy work. And the buildings and grounds team seemed to be interested in coming up with a plan, so to speak, or whatever. And it's like there's a bunch of moving things, but it's pretty much without too much definition, except I didn't want it to be spent, as I kept saying over and over again, on paper clips and pencils. But improving our grounds and relieving the burden on the buildings and grounds team who can't keep up with broken sprinkler systems and issues that could be worked out maybe for improvement of our appearance. And Rebecca even suggested improving the appearance in the swale over by the fire hydrant. That could be something, but
But
something.
Tom, I guess the question is the management of the fund.
Is what?
Is the management of the fund. As long as we use it to help alleviate the burden on our building and grounds team when it comes to caring for our property, is it a gift for us because the operations team would manage that, right? They would manage that fund. Is that acceptable?
Yeah, that would be it. And if it takes, if it's decided that they need to have, a landscaping team come in and do an assessment, the money could be spent toward that contract and toward any contracts that are beyond whatever it takes to make it an easier load on an aging buildings and ground team diminishing in numbers.
Okay, Tom, do you mean to say that the donation is unconditional?
Well, not totally unconditional. Because like I said, uh, it's got to be spent on something that I would like to see to improve our aesthetics as much as possible and relieve the buildings and grounds team from what is increasingly burdensome load.
So we do need to discuss this further down the road then, because it's a little more complicated. So we want to make sure we understand. Listen, it's an incredibly generous amount, and I would love to have it for the building, for the grounds, absolutely. So, but I want to make sure that it's done in a way that is appropriate. So let's talk more about this, okay?
Yeah, and when I looked at
If you're still up for contributing it, let's talk more about it next time it's on the agenda and see if we can clear up the confusion, because I'm still confused, honestly.
Well, can I suggest, like it says right in our policy and procedures and our bylaws, reading them together, that an unspecified donation that seems to involve one of the teams, which would logically be the buildings and grounds team, would go to them and then come back to the operations team with a recommendation. And it seems like getting them involved, and this doesn't need to be discussed at a board meeting, except it did say that the board has a role here. If there is, there is a role for the board in the language in here, if we can't come to some conclusion. And that's why I wanted the board to do it. And we're accomplishing what I hope, and that's an agreement that we need to talk about this, that there is a solution somewhere. We just need to get our arms around. But we don't need to do it. in
Yeah,
an
let's
open
talk,
board
let's
meeting.
talk more about it. Let's talk. I know that's not on the agenda tonight, so let's let it go. I thought if it was as simple as I thought, we could maybe clear it up, but I appreciate your patience and I appreciate your generosity, and let's talk more about this.
Yeah, to create the right environment so we can do it with the right people involved. And pretty much
Okay.
I'm trying to do something that is not too tethered, but still will accomplish aesthetics and relieving the overburdensome load on the buildings and grounds team.
Thank you.
John,
Jean? I see you have your hand up.
I would like to point out to the board that the operations team did not approve the charge to the building and grounds team that was presented maybe a year or so ago by Julie Jose and myself. And so there really is not a building and grounds team. And I would request that the board urge the operations team to correct that, because that is the team that should be overseeing how this money would be spent.
Gene, we've spoken about this before. Tom,
Yes.
Tom literally just talked about the building and grounds team. There is a building and grounds team. You're on it.
No, that
Oh,
is a weed pulling group. It is a
Gene,
weed
that
pulling
is what
group.
the
It is
building and
not
grounds
building
team
and
has
grounds.
always done. The physical work after meeting with the operations manager or whoever the administrator was when I first came, would talk about the projects that need to be done, and then the team would go out and do them. There was never a team that made those decisions since I've been here. So that team is in existence. That's why it was turned down, because it already exists.
Oh, I don't agree.
I know you don't, but that's the reality that we're facing.
You had comment, Doug. I saw a hand there.
Yeah, does this thing about the fact your grant require board action really? Or is this something possibly that Tom and Todd could work out in the near term and
Well,
then
I'm just reading from the last sentence of section 8 of Article 3. Guidance for acceptance or rejection of a donation, whether by the operations team, team or committee or the board, shall be found in the policy and procedures. And so the bylaw says the board has a role here. It directs us to the policy and procedures, but the policy and procedures don't really clarify it. So, it's kind of mud.
So
Yeah,
we
so
have some
then-
work to do there too. That was all put into place years ago when there were two people who wanted to donate money to our congregation
Yeah, I know.
to put a flagpole in the front property and have the American flag
Yep.
on our property.
Yeah,
There was some confusion about, well, we don't really want that, who makes those decisions? And so that's where those
Yeah.
muddled bylaws and policies came into place. And that's where the conflict is here. Yeah, they're maybe not as clear as they need to be or something like that, but that's what we need to iron out, okay? We
I'm
want to make sure that the money's not so managed by individuals that it doesn't accomplish the big things we're all trying to get done. So let's just figure that out. It can be solved.
get me together with whoever.
Okay.
Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, we are done.
Okay, 5:50.
Now I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this room.
You just
close
go
it.
down to the right corner where it says leave and hit end meeting for all.
No, I have to actually go up and do something to it because I'm in churches, but yeah, I will
You
take.
have to stop the recording first and then it should save it for you.